All right, stick with me on this one. A kid gets home from school, thinking it's just another normal day, but something feels off. He gets a letter. And the moment he opens it, Kuyu Haruto is yanked into a completely different dimension. The kid has no idea what's about to happen. Then, a voice starts talking inside his head. Turns out, it's himself from 10 years in the future. His future self warns him that he's destined to become the greatest spacetime mage ever, but by then it'll be too late. So he had to contact his past self to get things moving faster. Now Haruto has to go to the F-rank dungeon in Shinjuku completely alone to meet his future self again. Back in his room, our protagonist wonders if any of this is even real, and then he remembers his day. His absolutely horrible day at school. At Haruto's school, he was basically thrown around and had his face used to mop the floor. Now, pay attention, here's why. His classmates were mocking him, saying he got hit by a basic spell he should have dodged. The poor guy was furious, but too weak to even stand. Haruto just gets up and asks if they're finally done. He wants them to return something they stole from him. Instead, they order him to go buy snacks. He does, but he forgot the soda, and that was a huge mistake. Because of that one slip-up, his punishment was taking a few fire spells to the face. The bully launches another attack that almost completely torches Haruto. This time, at least he didn't get his face dragged across the ground again. But their innocent fun gets cut short when a girl shows up, and she looks absolutely furious. This is Shinonome, and she's a member of the disciplinary committee. The bullies toss back what they took. But Haruto isn't fast enough to grab it. It falls, and his phone screen cracks, just like his reputation. You and I both know what's coming next. She runs to see if he's okay. But he tells her to back off. If she's seen with him, she'll get treated the exact same way he does. The girl doesn't argue, but you can see she's incredibly worried about him. Fed up with his own weakness, Haruto tells his friend they can't be like they were as kids anymore. At school, he hears them. Everyone laughing, whispering that he's the weakest student in the entire academy, wondering how he even got in. The truth is, he only got accepted because of his parents' connections, and sadly, they aren't around to help him anymore. They were on a plane that had a sudden malfunction. After that hellish day, Haruto's mind is made up. He's going to that dungeon his future self mentioned. He brings the letter with him, and suddenly it starts talking, guiding him toward a blank wall. It tells him to press the letter against the stone, and like magic, it opens up, revealing a hidden passage. Inside the chamber, a blue stone is just floating, locked in place by chains. It's a skill cube. Touch it, and you gain an ability. Haruto walks towards it, seeing his own pathetic reflection just before he reaches out. The second he touches it, the stone zaps him and glows red. Lines of energy race across the walls, and then the ceiling cracks wide open. All the chunks of concrete in the room get pulled upwards, forming a massive stone golem. Even through the dust, you can see its terrifying shape. Haruto is frozen solid with fear. There is no way he can fight something like that. When the creature finally moves, it's unbelievably fast. It hits him with an attack so quick he can't even see it coming. He gets slammed hard against a wall, and trust me, that's where we leave him. And on the other, his shattered phone. The picture on its screen caught his eye. It was his family, the only people who ever truly loved him, who made him feel whole. And then the letter began to speak to him again, that voice from the paper. It sounded like it loved and cared for him, too. But maybe, just maybe, this person loves him the most because it's literally him, his future self. But can he trust it? Is he about to lose everything all over again, right here in this dark pit? Haruto thought back to the humiliation at school. He couldn't shake it. He needed revenge. The golem attacks with pure fury. Haruto reaches for his sword, but it's too late. He's hit. A system message flashes into view. Hidden mission requirements have been met. Don't blink because this is where everything changes. Adventurer's death cancelled. A massive aura explodes from him, and his body starts healing itself instantly. The concept of spacetime has been acquired. Haruto is no longer that same weak kid. He's now wrapped in blue lightning, his entire appearance renewed and powerful. Another system window reveals he's finally unlocked space-time magic. The voice from the future apologizes for not warning him about the trap he walked into. It explains that space-time magic won't be discovered for another 10 years. The kid asks if he's really from the future, and his older self confirms it. The tutorial has officially begun. With no time to waste, the golem strikes. But this time, our boy is more than ready. He dodges the monster's massive blow with an insane burst of speed he never had before. The protagonist can feel it. His body is so much lighter. He wonders if this is the skill's effect. The letter then says it'll teach him how to fight, telling him not to see, but to feel. The voice from the future explains he has to feel the flow of time that governs this entire world. Focusing. The boy repeats his older self's words, trying to grasp this new power. The entity says it knows he can do it, because in the end, they're the same person. Let that sink in for a second. The stone monster doesn't care, it just powers up an even stronger attack. But the protagonist closes his eyes and concentrates, feeling the flow all around him. He stays completely still as the creature's giant fist comes crashing down. He's trying to feel time itself, just like his older self told him to. His eyes flash with an intense glow as he snaps his fingers, looking way more confident. The creature swings again, but he just leaps back. Dodging the attack by a razor's edge, he cracks a smile and declares it's time to use his space-time magic. With his newfound speed, he runs straight up the golem's arm before it can even react. And right then, a system window pops up as he activates the physical acceleration skill. The boy launches himself forward like a spring, suddenly gaining unbelievable speed. He scales the monster at a blinding velocity, nothing but a bolt of blue light in the dark. Reaching the top, he leaps, realizing just how broken his new power really is. And trust me, this is the moment we've all been waiting for, the finishing blow. He lands square on the enemy's head, his sword buried deep inside its core. From the inside, the stone creature's core slowly begins to crack apart. A flash of purple light explodes outwards, blinding everything and signaling the end. The monster shatters into countless fragments that scatter across the entire room. After that epic takedown, our young hero lands safely on the dungeon floor. Secret chamber, he looks back and sees the golem's remains turn to ash. A system window pops up, he leveled up 4 times in one go. Huge rewards, the entity inside the letter asks if he finally believes it. Then it calls him by his hated school nickname, Little Germ. The boy clutches the envelope, admitting he trusts it just a little. And the voice declares it's time for the next phase. Trust me, this is where the real story begins. As he leaves, the kid asks if there's anything else he needs to do. Oh yes, his future self says they have to find Riina Shinon. Because today is the day she's going to die, he stops dead in his tracks. Utterly shocked, he demands to know what that even means. The voice just confirms it. His childhood friend, Renee, is in real danger. She's about to enter a dungeon with her friends and die to a surprise boss. And yeah, it gets that specific. The voice of his older self cuts through the panic with one clear order. Save her, use your new power, and rewrite her destiny. A fire ignites in his eyes as the voice names him the mage of spacetime. Time to act, his future self explains she will die today. In the D-rank dungeon of Ebukuro, the cause, a total surprise. A C-rank extra boss is going to appear out of nowhere. His future self continues, her party will call for backup, but nobody will get there in time. Hearing this, he snaps. He screams at the voice to shut up and just bolts. He's furious, yelling about why his future self didn't tell him this sooner. The letter calmly reminds him he always hated getting involved with other people. That he always acted like he didn't care. He finally arrives at the dungeon. A monster stands in his way. He just ignores it and pushes forward. The voice keeps taunting him, calling him Germ to test his conviction. It tells him to stop pretending he's above it all, to just accept his feelings. You and I know he can change the world with the power he holds. The kid charges ahead, slicing through every single goblin in his path. One clean strike, the voice tells him the future now rests on his actions alone. He tells his future self to shut his mouth, sliding across the dungeon floor. His aura flares to life. He's made his decision. He screams that no matter what, he's going to follow his heart. The entity is satisfied. That was the answer it wanted, and he'll be rewarded. Meanwhile, deep inside that same dungeon, a massive explosion of energy erupts. The blast sends Rina flying backward through the air, completely helpless. She slams into the ground, as her teammates can only watch in absolute horror. From a distance, we see her lying there as her friend screams her name. She's down, unconscious and bleeding on the cold stone floor. With all her strength, she forces one eye open, staring at her attacker. Standing over them is a knight shrouded in black armor. In its hands, a colossal sword. A system window confirms the worst. He's the C-rank extra boss, the terrifying Dark Sentinel. Her friends start to panic. One of them frantically tries to call for reinforcements. Another girl with a staff tries to rally them, telling them to fight together. But one of the guys just backs away, terrified, saying he's not dying here. It gives them no time to argue, moving in to attack again as its giant blade descends. The blow smashes into the ground with devastating force, right towards the students. A massive explosion of purple energy erupts from the impact point. When the dust finally settles, we see Rina, breathless and completely exhausted. And in her eyes, you and I see the reflection of a nightmare. All her friends are down. Looking forward, the girl sees she's the only one who can still fight. Her entire party is severely injured, unable to continue the battle. With the last of his strength, one of them begs the young woman to save him. Without hesitation, she turns and faces the Dark Sentinel for one final attempt. With a fierce battle cry, she charges forward with her flaming spear ready to strike. The blow hits the creature's armor head-on, but it doesn't even leave a scratch. In response, the boss unleashes a wave of blue energy that just throws her back. She's in complete shock. Her strongest attack was totally useless. Seizing its chance, the Dark Knight raises its massive sword for the finishing blow. The blade falls rapidly toward the girl, who's now defenseless on the ground. In desperation, she screams for help, and a skill window appears. Trust me, you'll want to see this. In that instant, our protagonist appears, stopping the blade with chains of pure energy. He calmly asks his friend if she's okay now. Stunned, the girl recognizes him, unable to believe what she's seeing. With tears in her eyes, she still can't process that he's really there. He shields her with his body, telling her to stay back while he holds the chains. He turns to the Dark Sentinel, realizing his chains aren't going to hold much longer. With one powerful blow, the monster shatters them, and our hero leaps back to dodge. He lands safely at a distance, preparing himself for the real fight. The creature attacks again, but the boy uses his speed to slide right under the blow. Getting in close, he manages to block the giant sword with his own smaller blade. He spots a weak point in the monster's armor and aims his attack right for it. But as his sword makes contact, he finds out the armor is much tougher than it looks. The force of the impact pushes him back, and I gotta say, he's struggling to stay on his feet. The enemy's sword keeps pressing against his, sending sparks flying everywhere. He's finally thrown backward, and the monster manages to chip a piece off our hero's sword. Seeing this, the boy realizes the boss is preparing some kind of ranged attack. The gem on its chest glows with dark energy and starts to crack open. Releasing immense power, the monster fires a massive purple energy beam right at him. The creature's attack sets off a gigantic explosion that fills the entire room. But our hero uses physical acceleration to dodge the deadly beam by a hair. With his eyes glowing, he understands his sword alone won't be enough. He remembers the way his blade couldn't even scratch the monster's heavy armor. From this, he concludes that there has to be a weak point somewhere. Then the young man realizes the weak point must be the head, and he needs to aim there. A voice warns him that the sword is useless, but he doesn't seem to care. He charges forward to attack anyway. He just smiles and says he already knows, and you and I are about to see why. He activates his material restoration magic. With that, the broken sword begins to rebuild itself. But as his blade reforms, the monster is already preparing a new wave of dark energy. Attack, but just then, his sword slams into the boss's head, stunning it for a second. He seizes the opening, attacking with everything he's got, creating a massive blue energy explosion. The hit lands clean, and the monster's skull starts to crack from the sheer force. He lands safely as the voice announces that he successfully changed fate. In front of his friend, our hero looks at the defeated monster on the dungeon floor. Still on the ground, the girl looks up, completely stunned by the main character's power. With determined steps, she gets to her feet and marches right over to the boy, wanting answers. She keeps coming and angrily asks how in the world he managed to pull that off. Totally bewildered, his friend yells again, desperate to understand what just happened. Pointing at her savior, the young woman demands he start explaining himself, right now. But before anything else, the girl says she needs to thank him for saving the group. With her face a little flushed, she shouts her thanks for saving her and her companions. The boy gets a bit flustered by her gratitude and says it was nothing. Then she gets right up in his face and asks what kind of magic he just used. But here's the thing that future voice warns him, do not mention space-time magic. The girl gives him a suspicious look, and the boy is totally stumped on what to say. Changing the subject, he asks her to keep it a secret that he was the one who saved them. She's shocked by the request, and he explains that he doesn't want to bring any attention to himself. The voice tells him to just keep stalling for time, but his friend is startled by the sound. She asks if that voice was his, but the young man immediately denies it. The entity apologizes, but our boy promises to get his revenge on it later for this mess. Flustered, the boy has no idea what to tell his friend after all that confusion. So he makes up a story about testing a new sword skill that's not even finished yet. Because of that, the young man desperately begs her to keep it a secret for now. With a slight blush on her face, the girl seems to be considering his offer. Then with a sly little look, she asks if this will be a secret just between the two of them. The protagonist agrees, a little confused by his companion's sudden change in attitude. With a smile, his friend finally agrees, and the boy breathes a sigh of relief. Thinking he's in the clear, back at school, our main character explains that he prevented the death that was destined for Renai. He also thinks about how, in that same moment, he unlocked an insane level of power and magic. He remembers that you can't change the past as the class bell suddenly rings. But now, our hero realizes that with his new powers, he can finally change the future. Just then, a classmate calls him Germ just to get under his skin, and yeah, you guessed it, it's a trio of bullies. They're laughing, making fun of our hero for absolutely no reason. Their leader says he heard the boy went to the dungeon and even saw him running from it. They keep mocking him, saying he really lived up to his reputation by attracting an extra boss. The bully says a friend of his got hurt and is now in the hospital with a huge bill. With a smirk, he demands money to keep his mouth shut about seeing our boy there. Even surrounded, our hero just stays quiet, not saying a word. Getting annoyed, one of the goons summons a fireball and threatens the young man with his magic. Calmly, the protagonist firmly states that he doesn't want to be attacked. The bully is stunned by this response, and trust me, he's about to be even more surprised. You're not going to believe what happens next, stick with me on this one. He tells them he's not interested and calls them pathetic trash. Furious, the leader lunges at him with a clenched fist, ready to connect. But our protagonist knows that with his new power-up, the game has completely changed. He can now track his enemies' every move with perfect precision. With that, the boy dodges and counters their attacks with absolutely insane speed. In an instant, all three bullies are eating dirt, completely defeated. Shocked, they look up at him, wondering what in the hell just happened. Our guy glares down at them coldly, warning them to never show their faces in front of him again. He then pulls out a lighter while holding their stuff and asks if they understand what will happen if they disobey. Terrified, the bullies just point at him, not even sure what to say to the threat. With the flame lit, he seals the promise between them in the most intimidating way possible. He repeats his gentle request with a look that makes it crystal clear what happens if they fail him. Terrified, the three of them just nod in agreement, not daring to say another word. Relieved, our hero sighs and decides it's probably best to get back to the classroom. In class, he starts to wonder if the next lesson is the magical element measurement. The teacher announces they're about to begin the semester's official measurement and calls out our hero's name. He stands up politely and answers the call for the test. He can't help but remember that last time. His magical power was practically zero across the board, but now, as a space-time mage, he wonders. Now watch this, he decides to test out his new magic for real. He walks up and touches the magic mirror, right under the teacher's watchful eye. Closing his eyes, our boy begins to concentrate everything he has. He starts releasing this incredible bluish energy. His eyes begin to glow intensely as he activates his secret ability. A bright light just explodes from the mirror, leaving the teacher completely shocked by what he's seeing. He is totally paralyzed, unable to understand what is happening. Then, a massive explosion of blue energy erupts and blinds everyone inside the classroom. The force alone is so great that the magic mirror cracks and then shatters into a million pieces. In total shock, the teacher screams that this is completely impossible and can't be real. The boy just scratches his head, bitterly regretting using so much power all at once. So much for being discreet. I think you and I can both agree on that. Meanwhile, his friend Renee is trying her best not to laugh at this whole mess. After class, our hero starts to hear whispers everywhere he goes down the hallways. The students are all talking about how he destroyed the device, and that his power is way above rank. The protagonist, realizes the rumors about him have completely changed overnight. He starts walking home, feeling more tired than usual from all of the unwanted attention, but then a familiar voice calls out his name. The boy turns around, completely confused, looking everywhere and trying to figure out where that call even came from. The mysterious voice says it's right there, but he still has no idea what is happening. Then something just appears out of thin air, right in front of his face. Completely terrified, our boy screams, having no idea what in the hell is going on. And that's when a cute pink creature appears, revealing itself to be the mysterious voice. You just know this is where it gets crazy. To his shock, he finally recognizes the voice. You're going to want to see what happens next. He asks if that's his future self and why he has such a strange appearance. The doll explains it used space-time magic just to possess this stuffed animal. But at that moment, the entity says there's an emergency and they have to act. No time for small talk. His future self reveals something absolutely terrifying. The Chaos Dragon has appeared way earlier than it was ever supposed to. Our hero tenses up, asking about this dragon while gritting his teeth in fear. He finds out it's an insanely dangerous creature, an alpha-level monster, marked for total extermination, and it has already attacked multiple people. The little creature explains the beast has already destroyed the Adventurers Guild. It caused an unprecedented catastrophe, leaving countless people injured. His future self says this is exactly what happened in his original timeline. Now they have to defeat it, or that same tragedy is about to happen again. The boy is completely floored by the news of this impending disaster. He immediately suggests calling the Adventurers Guild to request a hunting squad. But the doll cuts him off, saying there's absolutely no more time for that. It's already too late. Confused, the young man listens as his future self reveals. The dragon isn't on its way. Don't blink because it's already here. And just like that, the gigantic chaos dragon appears, roaring right in front of them. The protagonist panics, shouting about why the creature isn't inside a dungeon. His future self explains this species roams in the open. At this rate, the school is finished. The entire campus will be completely destroyed by the monster. Outside, the students walk calmly. They're totally unaware of the threat. A group is chatting casually until the sky goes dark. Looking up, they see the beast and can only wonder what that thing is doing there. The monster's glowing red eye stares down at the students with pure, unfiltered malice. Pure terror, the students start running for their lives in a desperate scramble. A blonde girl yells for all the normal students to evacuate the area immediately. A moment later, she and her squad of mages prepare for the battle that's about to begin. Our hero recognizes the group instantly, saying that's the Student Council of Mages. A huge pink magic circle forms on the ground, preparing a powerful attack. Smaller circles appear all around the beast, setting the stage for the coming strike. With that, the students launch a combined magical assault directly at the monster. The group's leader screams that the beast will not set a single foot in their school. Then her powerful pink magic hits the dragon head-on, causing an intense flash of light. But despite the direct hit, the giant monster seems to have felt absolutely nothing. A massive explosion illuminates the sky, and for a second, it seems the threat is over. The team members even start celebrating, believing they actually defeated the beast. With a confident smile on her face, the blonde girl thinks they handled it. But to everyone's absolute shock, as the smoke clears, they see it. The attack didn't work, and yeah, I think you and I both saw that coming. The evil creature seems to absorb their magic and prepares a devastating counterattack. Next, the dragon fires a massive purple energy beam toward the young mages. In the blink of an eye, the entire student council is completely defeated by the monster. His future version says this is no surprise. After all, they are just students. The cute creature calls the boy's name, its voice dead serious. Then the doll spits. And boom, pink goo splatters right across our protagonist's face as he screams. What the hell was that for? His future self calmly explains it's a special dragon scent meant to attract the beast, making it chase him and only him. And with that, the entity says it's now his turn to finally take it down. The monster's glowing red eye locks onto him, and in the next second, the gigantic creature charges straight in his direction, forcing the doll to panic. It screams for the boy to run as fast as humanly possible. He bolts. The beast is right on his heels, trying to crush him with every step. He glances back, worried, hearing his friend ask the girl if she's okay. Looking over, he sees Riina and the other council members all defeated on the ground. Now watch this, his future version asks if he wants to keep her out of this fight. The boy agrees, and the entity tells him to get moving to reduce his chances of being noticed. With that, our hero activates physical acceleration. He takes off at blinding speed as the giant monster roars and pursues him. They tear through the city streets, with the young man luring the beast. Their destination is the Nano train station in Tokyo, he quickly confirms. The place is empty, and the entity tells him to jump the fence. Once he's over, he turns and demands to know the creature's characteristics. The little doll says its element is darkness, and its breath is a killer move. It's also super resistant to physical attacks, and the young man gets it. He knows exactly why. The entity explains that because the beast isn't smart. The scent worked like a charm. The boy agrees, and the entity adds something. That the 500,000 credits were a great investment. And hold on, what? Did he just hear that insane number correctly? Furious, he snatches the doll. He learns the money came from his own account without permission and demands to know. How in the world did his future self manage to get his bank password? And while the answer is pretty obvious, he's just completely floored by it all. This is completely insane. His partner just tells him not to worry. He'll get the money back in no time. He explains that cash is just a bonus. The real prize here is a skill stone that grants new and powerful magic. Time-space magic. Our hero swallows hard and tells them to continue the plan. They pick up right where they left off. The doll reveals that since it's young, the monster's weakness, its core, should be exposed, but before he says where, the beast roars and attacks with everything it has. The sheer force of the blow is so immense that our hero is sent flying. The doll just screams at him, yelling for him to be careful. Our hero sarcastically thanks him for the tip. And in that exact moment, the dragon fires a giant purple energy beam. A massive explosion erupts as the young man tries to defend himself. He barely dodges, narrowly avoiding what should have been a final blow. But then he notices something strange. A look of total shock hits his face. A second pink explosion detonates exactly where he was standing just seconds before. The shock wave is powerful enough to destroy absolutely everything around it. Amidst all the smoke, the giant monster lands and surveys the destruction. A malicious grin spreads across its face as it observes the damage. The beast believes it has won and its chest begins to glow. But trust me, you and I both know this is far from over. A flash of light and a sword slashes the dragon right across the chest. The creature is stunned, having no idea what just happened, as the young man begins to explain. He reveals that what the beast just attacked was only his image from half a second ago. His partner chimes in, proudly stating he used space-time magic to dodge. Without wasting a moment, the boy leaps toward the monster, aiming for its weak spot. He finally sees it, the dragon's core glowing deep inside the enormous creature's chest. With a look of pure determination, our hero yells that he has finally found what he's been looking for. Then, with every ounce of his strength, he prepares a devastating blow aimed right for the core. The sword strikes the beast's weak spot head-on, creating a blindingly intense glow. But the young man says something doesn't feel right. And despite the perfect hit, he has a terrible feeling. And watch closely, this is where it gets insane. Suddenly, the beast's entire body dissolves into purple energy, sucking our hero right inside. Completely lost, the boy wonders what in the world is happening around him. A moment later, the monster materializes once again out of that strange smoke. Annoyed, he complains that his future version never mentioned this bizarre power. The entity explains that the beast's body can transform into poison and that he needs to stay on guard. The boy snaps back, saying he should have been told this before the fight even started. The doll then explains that the dragon simply uses its energy to create a physical body. With that, the creature finishes regenerating and lets out a roar with all its evil power. Then the purple smoke morphs into dozens of bats that fly straight for him. Terrified, the protagonist says there's no way that monster is just a hatchling. His partner confirms it. A powerful enemy that was supposed to appear 5 years from now has just shown up. And I know what you're thinking. How is that even possible? The kid demands to know why such a huge threat appeared this early in the game. The entity replies that maybe it's because he altered the future, and now he's the one who has to defeat it. Sighing, our hero complains that his future self is just dumping all the dirty work on him. Just then, the swarm of bats descends right on him, leaving him completely paralyzed in shock. With no time to waste, he activates his physical acceleration to escape the swarm of creatures midair. He manages to quickly slice through one of the dark bats that was right on his tail. And that's when the doll notices the small dragons don't dissolve into poison when they're defeated. The entity advises him to take out the minions first, then wait for the perfect moment to strike the main body. The young man lands on the tracks and agrees with the strategy, saying that's exactly what he's going to do. He then starts to channel energy into his feet, getting ready for his next attack. With a determined look, the boy prepares to put the plan into action and finish this fight for good. At that moment, he rockets forward at an insane speed, leaving a trail of pure light behind him. With his sword ready, he cuts down every single dark creature that gets in his way. The hero continues his relentless assault, destroying several of the monsters with each powerful blow. His partner observes the battle, calculating that he should level up about 3 times after all this is over. Panting hard, the boy pauses for a second to catch his breath, believing he has defeated all the smaller enemies. But then the main creature reappears at the end of the tracks, its core glowing brightly. Trust me, you can feel the tension here. Our hero is completely stunned by what he sees in front of him. Taking advantage of his shock, the dragon fires a devastating beam of energy right in their direction. A gigantic explosion erupts. The blast engulfs the area in flames, hitting our hero square in the chest. The impact sends him flying, and stick with me, the creature is already charging up again. It doesn't stop, preparing another shot of dark energy. He watches with wide eyes. The young man realizes he's got no time to dodge this next blow. Annoyed, he complains he barely had a second to breathe, and now here comes another one. A second explosion lights up everything, but this time the result is a bit different. He curses himself for wasting so much energy on the smaller minions earlier. The boy knows that at this rate, his strength is fading fast. He figures he's only got a few minutes left before he's completely drained. With that, he decides he has to hit the monster's core before it's too late. Suddenly, the protagonist is surprised, noticing something odd coming from the enemy. The monster soars high into the sky, and his partner warns that his attacks won't reach. Up there, the beast roars and prepares to fire down another devastating blast. Desperate, the young man frantically searches for a solution to this mess. He then looks to the side and seems to get an idea. The stationary train cars. Now here's where we see some big brain thinking. He realizes he can use the train to get the height he needs for the attack. With a determined look, he focuses on the cars, forming a new plan of attack. The young man knows he can use them to reach the altitude necessary for a strike. With that decided, he readies himself to use the trains as a launching platform. His partner yells out, asking what the plan is, saying it's getting too dangerous. Without explaining, the boy just grips the doll tightly, startling the creature. He starts running, shouting that his partner is coming with him to help out. With insane agility, our hero leaps from one container to the next. He's gaining more and more height, but even at the top, his partner warns him. It's still not enough to reach the monster, and the boy agrees. Our hero squeezes the cute creature, explaining this is why he needs its help. A little extra boost, then he yeets his partner like a cannonball towards the dragon. The beast is just left confused. Next, the young man activates space-time magic. He summons a magic chain, which attaches to the doll midair. Leaving it hanging there, not understanding what's going on, the hero takes his chance. He uses his partner as a stepping stone, leaping towards the gigantic beast in the sky. Seeing him approach, the dragon roars and prepares for a swift counterattack. With a determined look, the boy casts the magic again, trying to stop the beast. Before it can unleash its poison, the magic chain fully forms and lunges forward. The chains trap the dragon, and the boy shouts he can't hold it for long. He explains he's only got a few seconds, but he guarantees it's all he needs. And you and I both know this short window is enough to end the fight. His sword glows. Intensely, he prepares the final blow, aimed directly at the monster's core. The attack strikes head-on, causing a blinding flash on impact. With a focused glare, the hero uses all his strength to shatter the enemy's weak spot. The dragon's core begins to crack under the sword's pressure, releasing purple energy. Suddenly, the space-time chains break, freeing the giant creature from its bonds. Even so, our protagonist doesn't give up and continues to push the sword forward. With all his might, in its final moments, the beast roars out in pure agony. As its body dissolves, the core finally shatters into a dozen pieces, and with a massive explosion, the monster is finally defeated. Now stick with me because this fight took everything our hero and his partner had. The young man's sword couldn't take the pressure either, breaking right after that final blow. Tired, panting, our hero finally lets himself relax after the absolutely brutal battle. And right on cue, a system message pops up confirming he's taken down the Chaos Dragon. Relieved, the kid carefully looks over the rewards that materialize in front of him. The system announces 15 level ups and over 800,000 credits. He also scored the Chaos Dragon's Fang and a recommendation to rank up. His partner congratulates him, saying he totally expected the win, since they are, after all, the same person. But a second later, the cute creature gets furious, complaining he was used as a trampoline in the middle of the fight. The hero just tunes out his partner's nagging, focusing on the notifications that are still popping up. The system informs him his space-time magic leveled up 20 times, unlocking a bunch of new skills. He also snagged a new passive skill that juices up his potential power by a clean 50%. Despite the rage, his partner says he'll forgive him since they averted a catastrophe. Suddenly, he hears sirens. The cops are coming, and he tells his partner they need to get out of there fast. The protagonist agrees. No one can know they were ever at this location. The doll then hops onto the boy's shoulder, who's just surprised they're on the same page for once. Without wasting a second, our hero vaults over a fence, making a quick escape from the area. After they're clear, they finally make it to a safe place to crash. Back at the apartment, the boy sits on the sofa with a bag of food. Let's pause here because as he unwraps a sandwich, he remembers something important. He turns to his partner and asks if it needs to eat something too. The doll scoffs, asking how a simple cloth doll is supposed to eat. The kid just shoots back that a talking doll isn't exactly common sense either. Then an idea hits him, and he stops eating before he even takes a bite. He gets up from the sofa, leaving the little creature watching him suspiciously. He then walks over to a table and pours a glass of water for someone special. The young man places the glass right in front of a picture frame, greeting his family. The creature gets upset, asking him not to mock it like that. Our hero turns, confused, and the doll just repeats that they're the same person. His partner looks over at the little girl's photo, thinking he can't talk about Rhea yet. He decides to wait until the boy gets stronger as a time mage before telling him the truth. At that moment, the kid remembers they got a key material for a new weapon. A system notification pops up, showing the Chaos Dragon's Fang as the reward. His partner recalls that his sword broke, and you and I both know the timing is perfect. The creature tells him to skip class tomorrow. They're going to forge a new weapon. The next day, the young man arrives at the Adventurers Guild, looking nervous. The kid is more than a little intimidated by the sheer scale of the place. He's just amazed by the massive building as his partner climbs onto his shoulder with a smug grin. The creature tells him he can thank it for this opportunity later. The hero enters, but trust me, his simple plan to leave quickly is about to get complicated. Let's watch our boy try to cash in his first big win, and trust me, it's not gonna be simple. A voice calls out for adventurer number 23, and he realizes it's him. He tells the receptionist he's cleared a dungeon and wants to check his results. The attendant gives him a look, thinking he seems way too weak to be an adventurer. But with a professional smile, the woman agrees and says she'll check his information. She takes the young man's ID card and gets ready to pull up all his data. The woman slots the card into a terminal, and his information appears on a holographic screen. The system starts loading all the adventurer's data for the receptionist's review. Next up, she asks him to place his hand right on the screen to confirm his identity. Our hero does as he's told, placing his hand on the screen and waiting for the rank check. He waits for the machine to complete the verification, and then it happens. And here's where it gets crazy. The attendant's eyes go wide in absolute disbelief. She's completely floored. His rank jumped from I all the way to C in a single day. She can't believe it. Trembling, she wonders if the machine is just malfunctioning. Our protagonist notices her reaction is starting to draw a lot of unwanted attention. Not wanting any trouble, he decides this is the perfect time to test out a new skill. His material restoration skill. With a smile, he tells the woman the identity check is complete. Confused, the attendant looks back at the screen one more time. It now shows rank E. She has no idea what just happened. Our hero plays dumb, asking the woman if there was some kind of problem. Trying to play it cool, she returns his card and says it was nothing at all. But the whole situation feels incredibly strange. He takes his card back and thanks her. The boy then reveals that he used his special restoration magic on the machine. Pretty clever move, right? He altered the system screen, and his partner praises him for it. Our hero says he just avoided changing the future. He stands before an elevator. He asks the doll which way he's supposed to go now. The cute little creature points the way. She instructs him to take the elevator to get to their next destination. Inside the cabin, the boy waits patiently as the elevator ascends to the correct floor. The doors open and he steps out of the cubicle into a new and mysterious corridor. Arriving at a door, he discovers that only rank adventurers are allowed to enter. But his partner assures him that this is not going to be a problem at all. She tells him not to worry. Then, the doll transforms into a glowing card. It falls right into the protagonist's hand. Surprised, the young man wonders how she did that. The card just tells him to use it. The boy hesitates for a second. He knows that Reader is a high-level security device, but the card insists. Without another thought, the boy touches the card to the security reader, which beeps. With the door open, the young man is hyped to start synthesizing his new weapon. And a time item, that's when someone asks who he is, thinking it's a school field trip. The young man faces the person who questioned him and prepares to give his answer. Calmly, he denies being on a school trip and says he came to create a new weapon. Surprised by the answer, the scientist is completely speechless for a moment. He just stares at the boy doubtfully, then asks what his adventurer rank is. Now, you and I both know he'd have to be rank A or higher to be in here. We learn this man is Takamune Shirayama, the director of the Weapon Synthesis Institute. Takamune scratches his head thinking, the kid looks like a rank F, but he couldn't be. Bypass security. Just then, his partner whispers for him to show them what he's got. Our hero explains that he managed to get a rare material from a powerful enemy. And this little item right here, you and I are about to see it change everything. The director takes the object from his hand, analyzing it with intense curiosity. Using a scanner over his eye, Takamune checks the fang and confirms the material is top-notch. Then the scientist asks if our hero was the one who actually defeated the monster. He confirms it. Satisfied with that answer, Takamune agrees to help him out. He points to the center of the room, and once he gets the nod, the whole lab floor rumbles. And get ready for this, a massive piece of machinery starts rising straight from the floor. Our hero is just stunned by the sheer size of the machine that appeared out of nowhere. The director boasts that this is the most modern, most advanced synthesis machine in the country. He explains that since the boy's material is a new discovery, he wants to monitor the results. Because of that, the scientist gives him permission to use the incredible equipment for free. With his job done, he simply turns around and leaves the two of them alone in the room. His partner then offers to walk him through the process, since the boy is a total newbie at this. And it's really no surprise, he has no clue what he's doing. After all, only students ranked B and above ever learn this technique at the academy. The creature explains that the very first step is to choose the weapon for the process. In this case, it's going to be his school sword. Immediately after, step 2 appears. This part involves selecting an element to infuse the blade with. A chart shows that the number of element slots depends on a weapon's rank, from F to S. The young man's sword is only rank F, so it can only hold a single element. The third step is reinforcing the weapon with materials, anything from gems to monster bones. His partner also comments that it's even possible to fuse 2 different swords into one. But for him, the core material is going to be that rare dragon's fang. And the final stage is the fusion itself. The system will calculate the power and time needed. He gets ready to start the process, then officially declares his sword as the base weapon. He carefully places it inside the synthesis machine. The machine's screen shows the element options, and his partner immediately complains. There's barely any variety. With no real choice, he tells him to just select the light element. The boy follows the command. A small compartment then opens up on the equipment. He asks if that's where the material goes, then carefully inserts the dragon's fang. Now for the fusion time, our hero asks, and his partner gives him a shocking answer. He's told to set the time for 3 years. The boy shouts, thinking it has to be a joke. 3 years? Yeah, I know what you're thinking, but his companion just tells him to stop complaining. Reluctantly, the young man accepts the insane command. The machine then announces that the synthesis has begun and will be complete in 3 years. But then the glowing card suddenly flies out of his hand, and he screams for it to stop. It completely ignores him, zipping straight into a secret slot on the machine. In that instant, an intense blue light completely envelops the entire machine. The young man can only watch, wondering what on earth is happening. The glow then explodes. A blinding flash. The system thanks him for his patience as a new notification appears. It reveals the synthesis is 100% complete. The sword of chaos has been forged. Back in the lab, he holds his powerful new sword as his partner warns him this was an exception. Just then the director bursts back in, totally shocked, and yells, "What? Trust me, you'll want to find out." How did it finish in seconds? A desperate Takamoon fumbles with the screen. He's trying to understand what just happened. The creature tells him to run. And trust me, while the scientist is distracted, our guy is now her new weapon. The boy thanks her for everything and bolts, as the scientist screams for him to wait. Stepping out of the building, our hero overhears 2 people talking nearby. One of them brings up the unknown, and the young man stops to listen in. The guy says the unknown single-handedly defeated the dragon. An absolute monster rookie, his friend is sure the clans will fight to recruit him. You and I both know who that is, as the protagonist continues on his way. Elsewhere, an adventurer dreams of joining Rumika's clan, but his colleague just scoffs. Our hero is totally confused by everything and figures it's best to go home and crash. But the cute creature pops up, saying they should head to a dungeon to test the new sword. With a huge smile, the doll reveals they're going to the dungeon of the divine beast. The beast's name, Sibaruz, an image of the 3-headed monster appears as the ground shakes. The protagonist is completely shocked by this insane suggestion. He can't believe his partner truly just said the name Sibaruz. The next day at the academy, his friend Renai appears, running and calling his name. She ignores another student completely, just crying, relieved to see her friend is alive. Catching her breath, the young woman says she heard the school monster attacked him. She says she was worried sick because he didn't read her messages or come to class. Angry now, she yells that she was incredibly worried, and he just asks what she's doing here. She fires back that she's the one who should be asking that question. And wouldn't you know it, she came to ask him to go to a dungeon. The boy gets it, commenting that it's no surprise since she's the best mage in their year. On his shoulder, the creature tells him to stop sharing intel and let's get going. Wiping her tears, the young man agrees. The girl can't help but smile. She's just so happy he's safe. The hero then apologizes for making his friend worry so much. But then she finally notices the creature on his shoulder and asks what that doll is. Her eyes start to sparkle, absolutely amazed by how cute the little thing is. Not even waiting for an answer, the young woman snatches the doll up. She asks if she can just hold it for a second, sniffing the plushie. For some reason, she says its scent is really comforting, hugging it tightly. Our hero finds the whole scene a little strange, so he says she can just take it home. The student is shocked by his offer. He tells her to just return it later, and the doll panics. She thanks him over and over, hugging the creature while blushing with pure happiness. With that, the young woman says goodbye to her friend and leaves, waving the plushie. Our hero tells his partner not to get upset, saying the girl will bring him back soon. The creature gets furious, shouting that he's missing the entire point while hitting his back. Even so, the doll grabs the boy's clothes, trying to tell him something important. He reveals that because of this, he has just been reunited with his childhood friend. The very same friend he completely lost 10 years ago. The partner thanks the protagonist for helping him finally find his old friend again. The young man says he's just happy that he was able to help out. His partner is ecstatic, thanking him for finding a friend he'd lost 10 years ago. Our hero just says he was happy that he could help him out. He ignores them, carrying his friend on his shoulder, and just walks away. Meanwhile, this white-haired kid is watching the whole thing go down, fiddling with his phone. He mutters to himself, "So that's Haruto, the germ," the look on his face, pure malice. And trust me, the way he's smiling, he hopes this mysterious dragon slayer is gonna be fun to break. The scene cuts, we're in the student guidance office, and someone is clearly waiting. A hand slams down on the desk, scattering papers. Someone demands to know if what they heard is true. A gem on her uniform glints as she continues her question, her voice full of disbelief. The girl with the glasses introduces herself as Yuzuki, the vice president. She's here to question him about the incident. Our main character confirms his version of the story, but the girl just stares him down. The suspicion is radiating off her. Yuzuki grabs a file, explaining Now here's where it gets dicey. A violent dragon invaded the school 2 days ago, and several witnesses saw that monster flying in the exact same direction he was running. He cooks up a quick lie, says the dragon was chasing another student, and he barely managed to escape with his life. He tries to leave for class, but the vice president tells him to wait just a moment. As he leaves the room, our hero wonders why. Everyone suspects him. His little partner pulls out a phone, saying, the answer is literally right there on the screen. It's a news post. And get this, the news story says a dragon slayer saved Tokyo from the recent crisis. People are going wild in the comments, calling the mystery savior the city's new hero. The boy asks if his partner can just delete the post using space-time magic. The doll replies that with his current skills, it's completely impossible. Our young man understands. With a heavy sigh, he walks into his classroom, and his eyes go wide at what he sees. All the students are whispering the second they lay eyes on him. They're all commenting that he's finally here. As he sits, the protagonist remembers how his classmates always avoided him, but something's different today. For some reason, the whole atmosphere in the classroom has completely changed. Just then, Renee bursts in, yelling that it's an emergency because he's here. But that same figure from before appears and tells her to stop. It's the white-haired boy. He introduces himself as Ryuga Sumeragi, the council president. He then repeats his name, making sure everyone knows who he is, the student council president. With his red eyes gleaming, the president announces he's here to challenge our hero to a magic duel. At this, the entire class erupts into whispers about the president's sudden challenge. A group of students huddles together, commenting among themselves. They're saying this whole situation is totally insane, but one of them states that the rookie can't use spells, he has no magical elements. He then remembers that. Even so, this kid completely shattered the magic measurement device, which also had traces of some unidentified material on it. Our hero starts to look worried. He also shows the online post about a mysterious dragon slayer saving Tokyo from the big crisis. The white-haired boy then points and directly accuses our guy of defeating the monster all alone. He claims he's the one who finished off the Chaos Dragon, a beast famous for its extremely violent nature. The protagonist is floored, and the president just reveals that he finds him to be a very intriguing person. A confident smirk plays on his lips. He says the rookie is a very interesting problem, and that is why you and I are about to watch him. Try to finish the boy off right now, before he becomes a much bigger problem. Claims he's also defeated a dragon, and proposes a duel to see who's the real dragon slayer. Okay, you and I are about to see a classic academy showdown. He explains their magic duels are a system for students to test their strength. Your rank in the academy is decided by these fights, with the best getting all the perks. Plus, after graduation, they can become high-ranking officers in the Adventurers Guild. The only rule, no spells that cause permanent or fatal damage. Simple enough. Lower-ranked students can challenge higher-ranked ones, and they have to accept. Hearing this, our hero realizes his low rank means he can just refuse. He's not crazy enough to accept this. But that's when the president warns Rena to choose her friends more wisely. Now listen to this creep. He says in her next private tutoring session, he'll teach her a lesson she'll never forget. A lesson, he says, where he'll hold nothing back, and you can see the absolute shock on her face. With a disgusting smirk, he says he'll also teach her the secret to getting into the student council. The girl just clenches her fist, saying she's looking forward to his guidance, and that pushes our boy and his friend over the edge. The hero tightens his grip on the pin on his uniform, and that's enough to get the president's attention. With a new fire in his eyes, our protagonist stands up and faces the white-haired punk who challenged him. He looks his rival dead in the eye and says he wants to talk about that duel. He accepts the council president's challenge. Hearing this, his friend is completely shocked, worried about his insane decision, but the young man isn't done. He accepts, but on one condition. At this, the president just scoffs, finding it hilarious. He thinks he can make demands. Our hero points right at his rival and declares the loser must leave the academy. Okay, I know what you're thinking. Did he just say that? Oh yeah, he did. The villain accepts, warning him that it's way too late for regrets. But our hero just stares him down, cold, serious, and absolutely confident he's going to win. Afterwards, his partner praises him for having the guts to stand up to a guy like Ryuga. The little creature jokes that the protagonist is starting to act more like him, but our hero knows Ryuga is strong. He asks his friend what else he knows about him, and suddenly, the doll's face gets serious. It knows exactly who the council president becomes. It reveals that in the future, Ryuga becomes the manager of the entire Shinjuku Adventurers Guild. After developing new fire magic, he becomes one of the 7 great mages. Our hero can't believe it, a sage. His friend confirms it. Yeah, and his personality is absolute garbage. The creature reveals he'll use his power to take advantage of multiple female students at this very academy. The partner also adds that he's a master at creating his own little cliques and factions at school. On top of all that, the president also possesses a natural, raw talent for magic. The creature explains there's a good reason everyone calls him a genius mage. Because of all this, his partner warns him, as he is now, he can't win this fight. The little creature tells him to check his stats and see his progress. So with the stakes this high, where does our hero stand? Let's take a look. Haruto Kyujo's attributes, currently level 15. His partner admits he's grown a lot, but let's get a reality check. Right away, he starts messing with the main character's attribute screen. He pulls up the rival's stats for comparison, and our hero is absolutely stunned. He can't believe it. The screen shows Ryuga is level 78, a solid A rank. We're talking 10 times stronger. The hero is shocked he can even view others' attributes. The power difference is just crushing. In the distance, he spots 2 female students. One of them is crying her eyes out while her friend tries to comfort her. The crying girl desperately asks what she's supposed to do in this situation. She says she can't use magic anymore and is about to fail the mage course. Her friend doesn't get it. She used the staff and spells perfectly, no mistakes. The girl wonders if she should just take private lessons with Mr. Ryuga to fix it. Hearing this, our hero freezes, and the girl's friend thinks it's a great idea. The other student agrees, saying she believes the private lessons will work. And yeah, we all know exactly what private lessons from a guy like Ryuga means. Our boy remembers that twisted smile as Ryuga said lessons with girls end quick. That it's all over if she just closes her eyes and does what he says. Our hero clenches his fist, pure rage, and asks to talk to them for a minute. They both look back, totally confused about what this guy could possibly want. As he walks over, the friend recognizes him from the swordsman course. The protagonist stands before them, his expression serious and determined. He tells the young woman she doesn't need Ryuga's lessons at all. He says that he himself will fix her problem right here, right now. He extends his hand, and the girl flinches at his sudden movement. He focuses, remembering a lesson from the magic element measurement class. Our guy uses his power to actually see how her magical elements are moving. And just like that, he sees it. Her magic circuit is blocked from overuse. So all he has to do is clear out the faulty part blocking the flow. With that single fix, her magical element flow should return to normal. He calmly asks her not to make too much noise while he helps her out. The protagonist reaches his hand towards the student, who is still confused. Then his hand starts to glow with an intense, pulsing blue energy. He pokes the young woman several times with his glowing fingertips. Her friend screams her name, totally worried about what's happening. She demands to know what he's doing, but he just tells the girl to try her magic. Her friend asks if she's all right, and the student confirms nothing bad happened. The girl clasps her hands together, and a green energy starts to form. A massive wave of magic suddenly erupts, shocking both of them completely. She shouts with pure joy. She can finally use her magic spells again. You and I just saw our boy do the impossible, making her even stronger than before. With a huge smile, the student looks completely relieved and ecstatic. She thanks our hero profusely, but he just shrugs it off like it was nothing. She's crying tears of happiness, saying she won't need Ryuga's lessons now. And at that, our hero remembers the threat that Creep made against his friend Rena. Later, while walking through the academy, his partner gets his attention. The boy turns to the creature on his shoulder and asks what he should do now. Stronger, he lays it out. There are only 3 days left until his duel. He needs to close the gap with the council president, and fast. His partner just smiles, saying it knew this was coming. And get this, it already got a map to the perfect training dungeon. But our hero wants to know what's in it for him. His partner reveals a massive amount of experience points are on the table. Plus, he'll even unlock a brand new spacetime spell. And it's the perfect chance to test his newly synthesized weapon and get a summon. Our hero is hyped, but after suggesting this dungeon, he's having second thoughts. You and I are about to see why. He's facing a literal army of monsters. How is he supposed to take them all down alone? His partner just teases him, asking if this isn't exactly what gets him going. The protagonist grins, his hand already starting to crackle with energy. His partner warns him not to lose, and he just scoffs, not a chance. He charges straight into the horde of enemies, promising to clear this entire dungeon. With his eyes glowing, the boy roars that he will defeat them all. And then the scene shifts, 1 hour later. Elsewhere, another group of adventurers are fighting near a massive elevator. One of them swings his sword, but it shatters on the monster's skin. The mage of the group tells him to get back as she readies a spell. She unleashes a massive blast of fire right at the crystal knight. With a smirk, she asks the monster how it liked her magic. But as the smoke clears, the creature is standing there without a single scratch. A status screen reveals it's a black crystal knight, immune to magic. The group starts to panic. None of their attacks are working on this thing. The knight raises its weapon, ready to unleash a devastating attack. They shut their eyes, bracing for the final blow, but watch this, it never lands. All they hear is the sharp, loud clash of metal hitting metal. The swordsman looks up, completely confused about what just happened. He's in total shock. The knight's attack was stopped by someone else. Just then, a blade comes crashing down on the knight's head. Our hero appears out of nowhere, landing a devastating blow on the monster. The enemy explodes into 1,000 crystal pieces, leaving the party speechless. They can't believe they're still alive, thanking the boy for saving their lives. The protagonist warns them there are more monsters coming and they need to go. The adventurer asks what he's going to do, and our hero tells them to go on. He'll stay right here and hold off the enemies closing in. Turning to face the horde, he tells the adventurers to get out of there. The group apologizes for the trouble and thanks him one last time. His partner casually points out that was only monster number 89. Let that sink in. He's not even halfway there, but our hero just grins. He declares it's time to finish this quick and level up without holding back. With his sword ready, the protagonist gets into his battle stance. He then dashes forward, slicing through multiple crystal monsters with insane speed. His partner reminds him these enemies give the most experience in the dungeon. Level up fast, but the creature warns that at the boy's current level, these enemies are seriously strong. At that moment, the swordsman's eyes flare with an intense blue energy. Suddenly, chains of power erupt from the ground, trapping every single enemy. Now, this is where you and I see how the Sword of Chaos flips the script. The outcome of the fight can change because the blade is charged with the element of light, which is ridiculously powerful. And with it, our hero easily slices through all the crystal monsters. His partner confirms that the boy is now strong enough to fight them. He then lands before an army of monsters. Looking to defeat a good number of them, the young man concentrates energy into his feet, preparing to charge the horde. But he changes his mind. Saying he won't take down just a few, he'll take them all. Fueled by his renewed will, one of the monsters lunges forward to attack him. With that, the boy easily defends himself from the monster's barrage of attacks. His eyes glow with blue energy as he prepares his counter. But even as he cuts down several enemies, he seems surprised by their sheer numbers. After the battle, he stands among the debris of the crystal monsters. Tired and panting, he sees an even larger enemy emerging before him. A status screen pops up, a black crystal general with insane attributes. His partner immediately warns him that this monster has boss-level stats. The swordsman charges forward, his blade clashing with the giant monsters. The young man knows he needs to act fast before the monster's raw power completely crushes him. He decides he needs to use his sword's element to win this. With that, the boy dodges the powerful vertical attack launched by the general. The dark energy in his hand concentrates, preparing the perfect counterattack. He repositions himself behind the enemy, taking advantage of the opening to strike. With his eyes glowing, he gets ready to deliver his final blow. Using his sword, he cuts down the giant monster with a powerful and precise strike. Even after the victory, the hero is exhausted, and his partner calls out to him. Suddenly, a massive explosion sends him flying, and he complains that he's a little busy right now. The creature then begins to explain that space-time magic is a completely different beast. Its power doesn't rely on magical elements, but on things that control time itself. Let that sink in for a second. He reveals that our main character uses the chrono element, which is why he can use magic. The kid complains about the bad timing, but his friend says that combat is the best time to learn. At that, more crystal monsters swarm in his direction to continue the fight. The boy uses his energy chains once more, trapping all the enemies. As he slices through the monsters, the creature warns him to never drop his guard. Just then, new hooded monsters appear in the dark dungeon. A status window reveals these are black crystal sorcerers with high magic resistance. The sorcerers begin to charge a powerful sphere of purple energy together. At that moment, his partner reminds the young man that he is a space-time mage, and even in mid-combat, he can learn to dodge the mage's attacks. He instructs him to focus his consciousness on the chrono element without stopping. With wide eyes, our hero concentrates as he faces the incoming magical attack. The creature screams at him to take control of the flow of time immediately. With that, the boy's eyes ignite with a blue energy, and a magic pattern glows. Then boom, a massive explosion rocks the dungeon. But our hero is ready, throwing up a shield to protect himself. His glowing blue barrier easily blocks one of the advancing crystal monsters. The monster is stopped cold. Now it's his turn. He extends a hand. Blue energy swirls in his palm, gathering for a devastating counterattack. He unleashes it, a massive energy beam that blasts everything in the room. When the dust finally settles, every single monster in the dungeon is gone. Total annihilation. He looks at his hand, wondering if this is the flow of time. His partner creature smiles, confirming that his theory is spot on. He's even more talented than it thought, already using the space-time bullet. That last attack just now, it punched clean through the dungeon's armor. Our hero leans on his sword, standing tall on a mountain of defeated monsters. But even after that epic win, he's panting, clearly exhausted from the fight. And right on cue, a flurry of notification windows pop up right in front of him. Level up, his energy instantly refills, and he asks for his next opponent. Suddenly the rank B dungeon boss appears, and trust me, it's a big one. The divine beast, Cerberus, the three-headed monster, stares him down, snarling. Its eyes glow with pure malice. Our protagonist is face-to-face with the boss. His partner explains that this particular boss, the beast Cerberus, is different. It possesses a sense of dignity and honor you just don't see in monsters. But still, it warns him, do not let your guard down for a single second. A system window confirms it. Enemy, the sacred beast Cerberus, rank B boss. His partner even compares the beast to a samurai, saying it has a warrior's soul. Our hero can feel it, an immense pressure rolling off the monster, taking his breath away. Cerberus's eye glows intensely, tracking his every single move. Seeing our hero struggling, his companion takes action. It offers him a potion, saying this should make him feel a little better. He agrees and takes it, preparing to drink down the potion and recover. But the three-headed beast just stands there, watching him patiently. Now I know what you're thinking. Is it actually waiting for him to recover? Stunned by the monster's attitude, our hero just stands there, frozen. Moved by this unexpected honor, he admits this is one strange dungeon boss. That's when his partner spots an old wound on the beast and tells him to aim there. The potion kicks in. He feels the beast's intimidating power return full force. He gets it now. The monster was indeed giving him a fair chance. Now he feels indebted to it. Cerberus's tail begins to glow with intense power. The time for waiting is over. The three-headed beast charges with savage ferocity. It's coming at him with everything it has, ready to tear him apart. A vicious claw swipe comes flying, but he dodges the fatal blow by a hair. His eyes glow. He activates space-time magic, moving at blinding speed. In an instant, he closes the distance, aiming his sword right at that old wound. That's the weak spot, the exact scar his partner pointed out just moments ago. All his power is focused on that single point. This one shot is everything. But as he raises his blade, he sees a set of jaws lunging right for him. He blocks with his sword, and one of the heads clamps down hard, stopping his attack cold. All right, let's jump right into this epic showdown. Sparks fly as these two clash, testing each other's incredible strength. It's a total stalemate. Seeing an opening, he uses the monster's own head as a springboard to launch himself and find a new position in the fight. With insane agility, our protagonist sails over Cerberus, trying to find a new angle, but one of its heads whips around and blasts a powerful breath attack right at him. Seeing the imminent danger, his partner screams desperately, telling him to dodge that massive energy blast, with no time to react. The attack hits him head-on, triggering a huge explosion. However, he used space-time magic. What the beast actually hit was just an afterimage from the past. Furious, the protagonist channels his energy, gearing up for a powerful counter. Now pay attention. His hand glows with intense power, and he strikes Cerberus's old scar directly with his magic. With a battle cry, the boy unleashes all his pent-up energy right into the monster's weak spot. A direct hit. Cerberus roars in agony, feeling the devastating impact of that magical assault. After the attack, Our hero lands just as the beast catches the blade in its mouth. His partner is completely confused by this, having no idea what just happened in that moment. The creature then recalls the same technique he used on the female student to heal her magical circuits. At that moment, the monster's wound begins to glow with a blue energy and heal completely. The protagonist then reveals he healed the beast because, and get this, he wants to fight his opponent on fair terms. Completely stunned, the doll shrieks that he's gone insane and is about to die. But the boy explains he has to return the respect he was shown, even from a monster. In a gesture of pure honor, the three-headed beast tosses the sword back to him with precision. His partner is floored, commenting that the enemy returned the weapon as if they were equals. With the debt now paid, Cerberus faces the protagonist, but our hero refuses the sword, saying he won't be needing it for this fight. With that said, the young man clenches his fists, preparing to fight barehanded. In a fighting stance, he says, "This isn't about leveling up or just defeating some boss," with a determined look on his face. He declares that this is simply a real fight. The monster seems to understand the challenge, and trust me, it faces him with that exact same respect. From a distance, his partner is totally lost, wondering what in the world is going on. Wasting no time, the protagonist charges and lands a powerful punch on Cerberus, but he realizes the impact wasn't nearly as strong as he expected on the creature. In response, the three-headed beast slams him with a powerful and accurate strike. Our young hero is thrown hard right against a crystal wall, but the protagonist manages to recover, landing on the crystal. He immediately counterattacks the beast with a powerful leap straight towards Cerberus. He lands a solid punch square on the beast's face. The massive blow connects with one of the heads, which seems to have actually felt it, but it doesn't give up, lunging in for a bite against the protagonist. Its jaws clamp down on his entire arm, and he feels the pain instantly. He grinds his teeth, sweating from the sheer effort to survive the attack. The beast then starts shaking him violently back and forth. While being bitten, our protagonist screams out in agony. Seeing this, his partner becomes extremely worried, yelling his name in total despair. After being slammed against the crystal, the protagonist feels the pain setting in. The heads begin charging a powerful, combined energy attack. His eye glows intensely, and you can tell he already knows exactly what to do. He declares he's putting all of his strength into this one final attack to win. One of Cerberus's heads unleashes a powerful golden energy beam in his direction. The attack causes a huge explosion of light that completely fills the dungeon. Enveloped in his own energy, our hero prepares for the final blow. With all his power focused, he can only hope his body can handle what he's about to do. Then with a battle cry, he charges, releasing all his energy in a single burst. Without wasting any time, he rushes in, landing powerful punches against the beast. But the monster retaliates, throwing him back with a blow that injures his arm. Despite the pain, he faces the enemy with a look of pure hatred and determination. The three-headed beast roars and lunges with its claws, ready to end the fight. At this, our hero concentrates all his energy into his fist, preparing for the attack. With his eyes glowing, he unleashes all of his remaining strength in a single shout. He lands another devastating punch on one of the creature's heads. The beast screams out in pure agony from the impact. Leaping into the air, he faces the monster's three heads and readies his final blow. With a determined gaze, he shouts that this is the end of the line for the creature. A massive explosion of blue energy erupts and completely swallows the monster. After the dust finally settles, we see our hero standing over his fallen enemy. He takes a moment to reflect, wondering if he's always been this reckless in battle. With a deep sigh, he concludes that he's always been a musclehead who acts first. A system window appears, confirming he has cleared the rank B dungeon. Suddenly, he wakes up as a familiar voice asks if he's finally awake. He slowly opens his eyes, looking completely confused about what just happened. His partner is looking down at him, clearly worried, waiting for him to respond. Sitting on the floor, he says that somehow he actually managed to defeat the monster. A screen pops up revealing he leveled up 20 times, and he wonders what else he got. The system shows he received a cloak, which he decides to check out later. But suddenly, the hero notices something strange, and his face freezes in shock. To his absolute shock, the creature is standing right in front of him again. The beast is back on its feet, leaving him stunned, but trust me, this is where it gets insane. Because the monster now looks like a cute and friendly little puppy. Completely confused, our hero is just speechless at the creature's transformation. The creature is looking at him with a docile expression and is even wagging its tail. Even though he doesn't understand, he decides to reach his hand out to the beast. With that, he pets the monster's head, which seems to like it a whole lot. The entity says the beast has taken a liking to him, and he questions if this is really the boss. His partner says it was unexpected, but that he got the dungeon reward anyway. He then asks if the equipment was the prize, but the entity immediately denies it. With that, it reveals that the reward is the sacred beast Cerberus itself. Yeah, you and I just found out he gets the dungeon boss as his actual prize. The entity warns that to form the contract, he needs to feed the beast his blood. Without a second of hesitation, he moves to do it model to form the contract. He needs to feed the beast his own blood. No hesitation. With a quick thought, the protagonist cuts his finger, offering his blood to the creature. He brings it to one of the creature's mouths, and a system screen confirms it. The beast is now his servant. His partner says their goal has been achieved. All right, stick with me. 3 days later at the Adventurers Academy, someone points to a figure in the courtyard. The students look at our hero and whisper, wondering if that's really him. With a bandage on his face, the young man walks with a serious and determined look. Suddenly, his friend Renée spots him from afar and shouts his name. She runs up to him, asking where he's been since she couldn't get in touch at all. Our hero explains he was undergoing special training for the duel against the president. The girl is extremely worried, wondering what on earth he did to get so beaten up. Our hero says confidently that one way or another, he is absolutely ready for the fight. Seeing this new attitude, the girl wonders if he's even the same friend she used to know. With his eyes closed, the young man seems calm and much more confident than usual. From a distance, the council president is watching him. He smirks, thinking the rookie must have just run away in fear. He assumes his rival only came back to show off how pathetic he is. And here we go. The white-haired boy and his followers approach them in the school hallway. He then announces to everyone that the duel will take place right after class today. Mockingly, the president asks if he's prepared, calling him the Dragon Slayer. Without hesitation, our hero faces his rival and confirms he is more than ready. The president then asks if he's forgotten the stupid condition he proposed. The protagonist confirms it. The loser of the fight will have to leave this school forever. At this, the rival says that's not nearly enough for him. The young man asks what he means. The white-haired boy then extends his hand. Ready to show off, he proposes adding 100 million credits to the bet just to make it more fun. Yeah, I know what you're thinking. Our protagonist is completely shocked by the absurd amount. The other students immediately start pressuring the protagonist to accept the bet. Observing everything, his partner instantly sees through the council president's move. The creature understands the rival is using the other students to provoke the young man. With this, he concludes his opponent is just as cunning as he always was in the future. The rival then declares that he will take every single thing the protagonist has. With a malicious grin, he adds that he will turn him into his own personal slave. His friend tries to intervene, but the young man stops her. He accepts the 100 million credit bet. The council president smiles. He's satisfied with his opponent's bold response. He says his goodbyes. He's looking forward to their magic duel later. Before leaving, though, he turns to the girl and threatens her about her private lesson. The young woman is left completely speechless and terrified by the president's threat. Seeing her reaction, our hero turns and tells her not to worry. With a confident smile, he assures his friend that he will definitely win this fight. After days of intense training in the dungeon, our young man is well prepared for this duel. Later, after class, the protagonist walks down the hallway. The time for the duel is finally here, but suddenly he stops dead in his tracks. He looks to the side with a very confused expression. A group of bullies appears. And you won't believe this, the leader invites him to play a little game before the fight. The goons reveal the deal, take him out, and they each get 1,000,000 credits. You and I are about to see how he handles this, because he shows zero reaction. They taunt him, asking if he's scared, but he just ignores their provocations. Instead, our hero whispers back that this is actually a massive relief for him. The bullies are completely thrown off, having no idea what he's talking about. He explains he's just relieved his rival, uses such cheesy and predictable moves. With a cold smile, he warns them they'll be the first to get their share. Furious at the disrespect, the leader of the thugs points his blade at him. He draws his sword and calls our main character a complete bastard. The bully screams at him not to get cocky just because of his attitude. Now don't blink, because his eyes glow blue as he preps for the counterattack. In less than a second, he dashes forward and smashes the bully into the ground. With his eyes still glowing, he stares down the rest of the gang without a hint of fear. He stands up and sighs, saying it's a pain to deal with them all at once. Meanwhile, back at the arena, his rival complains that he hasn't shown up yet. He asks the judge if he can just win by default if his opponent is a no-show. His lackeys start mocking the rookie, saying he probably just ran away in fear. The council president just smiles, thinking his hired thugs took care of business. Over in the stands, the hero's friend is getting seriously worried about him. But then, out of nowhere, someone in the crowd yells that he's finally here. The president and his goons turn around, completely stunned by what they see. Totally shocked, his rival demands to know what the hell he's even doing there. I know, right, and you can just feel the satisfaction as our hero calmly replies. He says there's nothing weird about it, since they did schedule a duel. Speechless, the council president just points, not knowing what to say. Cut back to the school grounds, where all the bullies are left broken on the floor. With a dead serious look, the protagonist announces they can finally begin. He looks at the judge and tells him to give the signal to start the fight. The judge announces the student from Class 3 to take his dueling position. Next, he introduces the student from Class 2F, Kuyu Haruto. With both fighters in position, the judge finally signals for the start. The council president grinds his teeth, furious about being publicly humiliated. He growls that he doesn't know how the rookie did it, but he's about to end him. Clenching his fist, he prepares to unleash his full power in this fight. At the same time, his opponent shouts that he's going all out from the start. A massive wave of pure fire explodes from him, rushing towards our hero. Walking through the flames, the president looks absolutely certain of his victory. With a vicious grin, he asks if his opponent is ready for what's coming. Our hero watches as a screen confirms he's using an advanced fire spell. Wasting no time, the president charges and launches a powerful flame attack. He thinks to himself that if this hits, it's game over for his rival. But the protagonist stays perfectly calm, his eyes glowing with that blue energy. His opponent keeps pouring on the power, making sure the attack connects. He notices that the intense flames are actually distorting the flow of time. Using that information, he dodges the fireball as it grazes right past him. With zero problem, our hero just keeps moving, dodging several explosions. His face incredibly calm as another blast sails right past him. Using his magic, our hero creates an afterimage, totally faking out his opponent. Stick with me, because what you're about to see defies all logic. The young man lands on the scorched earth without a single scratch. Showing his absolute superiority, but after landing, he senses something is off. Trusting his gut, he leaps high into the air. And from the ground, a pillar of fire erupts. Good thing he saw that coming. His rival can't believe even his two-part trap completely failed. The president is stunned as our hero concentrates a massive bluish energy, then unleashes his chronoray ability, firing a devastating beam. The attack slams right into the president, smashing him into the arena floor. The audience is in absolute shock, wondering how a magicless nobody just did that. With a massive grin, his friend knows what she saw was incredible. She knew it. He's not the same old Haruto anymore. As he walks across the arena, our hero asks if he wasn't planning on fighting seriously from the start. Already back on his feet, the president glares at our protagonist, looking pretty beat up. With a furious look, his rival seems to have finally snapped. Now pay attention, because this is where the real fight begins. He roars in rage, unleashing a huge wave of flames. His partner explains this spell uses direct attacks with 3,000-degree flames, but our hero just calmly faces it. He starts to manipulate the inferno with his bare hand. The president screams that the spell incinerates everything it touches, that he'll be turned to ash. With that, our protagonist charges in, kicking his rival's leg to throw him off balance. He then grabs Ryuga's arm, slamming and pinning him to the ground. With the president completely helpless, our hero readies a final blow to his face. Shocked, his rival actually seems to fear the hit. But showing mercy, our protagonist smashes his fist into the ground right beside the president's head. He then calmly states that he managed to extinguish the flames of the attack. Furious, the president points at the young man. Calling him trash who is going to be failed, he then turns to his followers and asks if they know what to do. With their hands glowing, the president's followers roar his name and agree to lend their power. With that, a huge fire symbol forms above the president as he absorbs their magic. He just smiles, soaking up the power, and yeah, you and I both know that's a total violation of the rules. Our hero just asks how much borrowed power he needs just to fight him. His rival just lets out a wicked laugh, his hair now literally on fire. Suddenly, his feet begin twisting into dragon claws with his secret technique. A fiery aura explodes around the president. The power erupts into a massive column of flames that shoots all the way to the arena ceiling. Seeing this magic, our hero is shocked, unable to believe his eyes. The flames then start to take the shape of a massive fire dragon right in front of him. It's a summon, and our protagonist knows he can't win a normal fight against this. Even so, he faces the creature, saying he already knows a straight-up fight is impossible. Faced with the massive fire dragon, the beast unleashes a torrent of flame right at him. With an impressive leap, he dodges the monster's attack, and trust me, this fight gets absolutely wild. He fires a blue energy beam from his hand, hoping to counter the massive fire monster. But with eyes wide, the hero can't believe it. What just happened? The fire monster took 0 damage, and the kid realizes his attack was totally useless. Seeing its chance, the flaming creature prepares another blow to end this duel for good. The huge dragon charges forward, pinning our protagonist in a corner. He backs away from the intense flames, only to find himself completely surrounded by fire. Pushed against the wall, he has absolutely nowhere left to escape. The young man then gets it. He has nowhere to run and is totally trapped. The giant fire creature closes in from all sides to make sure he can't get away. But his eyes start glowing blue. Now watch closely, he's got a brand new plan. He then spots something weird, a strange little flicker in the monster's flow of time. Our hero realizes it's like a crack, a tiny fissure in the stream of time itself. With this, he figures if he can just widen that fissure, he might actually have a chance to win. Just then, the fire dragon attacks with its massive claw, smashing the ground below. But a brilliant blue light shines right in the palm of the creature's giant paw. And to everyone's surprise, our hero appears, surrounded by that same blue energy. He stops the dragon's attack cold, then he leaps away. Turns out he used an image from the past to dodge the blow. Holding his sword, the protagonist asks his partner to let him use the plushie again. The cute little creature shows up complaining, but in the end, it agrees to help. Our protagonist then grabs his partner, who has a look of complete and utter despair. He hurls the creature, which starts glowing with blue energy and a very angry face. Stomping the ground, the hero uses a chain ability to trap his partner in midair. And yeah, I know what you're thinking. He's using the doll as an anchor to swing himself forward. With a focused look, the young man gets ready to attack the fire monster with all he's got. Our hero then charges at top speed straight towards the giant flaming creature. His eyes are glowing with an intense light as he focuses on his target. He zeroes in on the exact weak spot he found inside the enemy. He then realizes this is it, the fissure in the flow of time he spotted earlier in the duel. With a loud shout, the protagonist readies his sword to hit that weak spot. He delivers a powerful strike that slices the fire dragon clean in half with his blade. Our hero lands safely on the ground as the monster dissolves into dark flames. Seeing his ultimate attack get defeated, the president is in total shock. Absolutely desperate, the council president starts pulling his hair, not getting what just happened. He screams that it's impossible. As long as his followers are chanting, the magic is infinite. The president gets closer, demanding to know why the magic didn't just regenerate. He keeps shouting that there's no way this should be happening. No magical principle he knows could ever allow for something like this. Our protagonist answers with a heavy punch right to his arrogant opponent's chest. With that single blow, the white-haired boy crashes to the ground, totally defeated. The teacher who was supervising the duel is just standing there, completely stunned. And the winner is announced, our hero, Kuyu Haruto. You and I just witnessed an incredible victory. Later, we see Rina and her friends throwing a party, gathering everyone to celebrate. They're throwing confetti and congratulating our hero on his victory in the duel model. A little embarrassed by the celebration, our hero just thanks everyone. And trust me, you're gonna wanna see where this party goes. A girl hands him a glass and asks him to do the honors. Our guy takes a seat at the table, and all the girls are looking at him, waiting. He glances at the glass and agrees to make the toast so the celebration can officially start. With that, everyone raises their glasses, cheering together, absolutely thrilled. The party kicks into high gear, with everyone drinking and grabbing snacks. One of the girls sighs in relief, glad the president is finally leaving the school. The others quickly agree, complaining about what a horrible, abusive jerk he was. One of them hugs Rina, saying she barely escaped becoming his next target. Then, out of nowhere, a classmate asks our hero about the 100 million from the bet. The protagonist just takes a slow sip of his drink. He puts the glass down on the table and admits he totally forgot all about it. The girls are completely stunned, shouting about what a massive waste of money that is. Our hero calmly explains that he was never interested in the prize money to begin with. Hearing this, the girls get literal hearts in their eyes, thinking his attitude is beyond cool. Then one of them calls his name, about to ask something important, and yeah, you can probably guess what it is. She asks about his relationship with Rina, leaving him totally speechless. With that sudden question, his friend does a spit take with her drink. Completely shocked by the situation, the girl yells at her friend, asking what she's talking about all of a sudden. Her friend just points out he picked a fight with the top student in school, all because of her. And with that, the other girls all chime in, demanding to know what the real deal is between the two of them. Under pressure from everyone, the protagonist has no idea what to say and just starts stuttering. Seeing him react like that, the girls lean in even closer, hungry for an answer. With no other way out, he suddenly shoots up from his seat, making up a quick excuse about needing the restroom to make his escape. As he walks away, the girls note that he managed to dodge their question. One of them comments that he seems to have changed lately, looking much more mature. Rina then remembers that ever since that day, her friend has always been by her side. She thinks back to when they were just kids, and he protected her from some huge, ferocious monster. In the flashback, we see the little boy defending his friend with nothing but a simple wooden stick. Back in the present, Rena holds her glass, thinking to herself that this is how things have always been. With a flushed face, the girl remembers they even share a secret now. She recalls the night he saved her from that dark dungeon. The young woman remembers the exact moment her friend unleashed his power and destroyed the monster. She then pictures how the protagonist stood right in front of her, right after saving her from danger. Meanwhile, in the bathroom, our hero is washing his hands, thinking about the unexpected party. He gets a message from his friend, apologizing for all the awkward questions. Reading it, the protagonist lets out a small smile, touched by her concern. He looks at his reflection in the mirror, thinking he hasn't seen a scene so full of life in a very long time, and with that, his grip on the sink tightens. He remembers his family and how he thought he would never experience happy moments like this ever again. He starts to wonder if his actions can actually change the future. But just as he's lost in thought, the creature on his shoulder calls his name. And you know this means trouble. Annoyed, the boy turns and tells his partner to keep it down. Until they get home, the creature warns him that it's an emergency, and the young man has no idea what that means. His future self then says with a heavy tone that the moment has finally arrived. Our hero turns, asking what the hell his partner is even talking about, and then the entity says it will tell him the real reason it's been by his side. With that, it reveals that the hero's younger sister, who he thought was dead, is actually alive. An image of his sister flashes through his mind. Absolutely shattered, the protagonist can't believe what he's hearing. He remembers his sister Ria died in an accident years ago, but the doll clarifies she isn't alive in this world. The creature tells him to get ready immediately for what's about to happen. With a look of pure determination, the entity declares that the two of them are going to save her together. And just like that, we jump into a flashback of the protagonist's childhood with his sister. With a huge grin, she shows off the red scarf she just finished making. Curious, he asks if Ria was the one who actually made the gift. Beaming with pride, the little girl jumps for joy and confirms she made it all by herself. He finds her reaction adorable. With a radiant smile, she holds out the gift, telling him it's his to wear. Totally surprised, the boy asks if it's really for him and if it'll even look good. Hearing that, the young woman pouts and asks if he hates her gift. He quickly backpedals, saying of course he wants the brand new scarf. At his words, the little girl's face breaks into a smile of pure joy. Then she wraps the scarf around his neck, saying he should have just said yes. With the gift on, the boy notes that the stitching looks a little bit loose. With the scarf in place, his sister warns that tomorrow is Christmas. She then pops on a fake mustache, calling it a gift from Rihanna No. With a gentle smile, our hero gets the joke and thanks her for the heartfelt gift. The girl suggests a late Christmas party right after her ballet recital. Smiling, she says he'll have to get her a gift too. But he reveals he never kept that promise because his family got into an accident. Back in the present, he remembers they never made it home again. A voice calls his name, pulling him out of his painful memories of the past, in his apartment. The young man is still completely lost in his thoughts about what just happened. His eyes drift to the shelf, landing on a very special memory from his childhood. He stares at his old family photo and the scarf his little sister had given him. With that, our hero apologizes and asks his partner to repeat what it said earlier. The creature tells him to snap out of it. They have a mission, and they absolutely cannot fail. The protagonist agrees, but asks how his sister Ria could possibly be alive in the first place. He then insists that everyone died in that accident, so she can't be alive. His partner asks what he really knows about the crash, and he admits it was a mystery. And get this, the entity explains this mystery is way beyond their current science. The protagonist is just shocked, totally confused by this impossible revelation. The creature reveals a space-time hole opened up in the sky that very day. Baffled, he asks what that is, and the entity confirms it's a portal. A dimensional connection. The being explains the plane was pulled in by mistake. The creature reveals the plane flew through that hole, which is why it vanished from radar. Shocked, our hero argues that this changes nothing, all the passengers still died. But his partner points out a crucial fact: his sister Ria's body was never recovered. From the wreckage, the creature then concludes she was the only one on that plane who was sucked into the hole. And with wide eyes, the hero finally begins to see. He's understanding the truth, and pay attention, because this is where the lore gets crazy. The entity calls it the dimensional rift, a place where time and space are broken. Years could pass in our world, but for his sister, it'd be less than a second. So when the rift opens again, his sister will finally be returned to this world. Then the doll reveals his true purpose. He came back from a future where he found out about all this when it was already too late. He grabs the hero's shirt and begs him to save his sister this time around. The small, desperate creature is asking our hero to do what his future self failed to do. Talk about pressure, right? The protagonist just watches him, silent for a moment, then he agrees. He asks where and when the rift is going to appear. The creature tells him. It'll show up directly above Tokyo Tower, inside the Sky Castle dungeon. The next day, we see Tokyo, getting ready for another normal day. As he looks out over the city, our hero prepares for the mission of a lifetime, his sister's scarf tied around his neck. His partner complains that he bought out all the offensive items and every single recovery potion in the entire store. The young man just replies that he could only afford it thanks to the money from the Azabu Crystal Labyrinth. The creature then asks him why he's wearing that scarf in the middle of June. With a faraway look, our hero simply claims that he gets cold really easily. That's why he needs it. His partner understands and decides not to press him. No point in making him uncomfortable. Instead, he warns that the gate to the dungeon is at the Tokyo Tower Observatory. And they have exactly 24 hours until the space-time rift opens, 300 meters above that dungeon. When it does, the rift will spit his sister back out. But if the hero isn't there in time to catch her, the girl will simply fall to her death. The protagonist just clenches his fist. Holding his hand out, he activates his space-time mage suit, getting ready to move. A brilliant blue aura explodes around him, enveloping his body as he prepares to enter the dungeon. Suited up and with a look of pure determination, he makes a promise to save his sister, no matter what. All right, let's see him do it. He gets to the tower, but is immediately stopped by two guards telling him to halt. They explain a dungeon gate has just appeared, and entry is restricted to Ranko adventurers and above only. After getting the news, the protagonist decides there's no time for rules. His partner asks what he's going to do now, but the hero just says there's no time. They're taking a shortcut. And with that, our protagonist focuses blue energy right into his feet, preparing for a massive leap. Then he's off, starting to scale the huge red tower, using nothing but his raw agility. The creature says he learns fast, but the protagonist snaps that his future self is just annoying. The hero keeps climbing the metal frame at an absolutely insane speed. Reaching the top, the young man carefully peeks over the edge, checking out what's happening inside. Inside, a red-haired man and his guards are analyzing the situation, and let me tell you, this just got complicated. And now we've got our first problem. A troublesome guy has just arrived. The protagonist asks if he knows him, and the entity explains exactly who he is. He's the head of the region's Adventurers Guild, and he's known for being stubborn. The future being adds that the man will just stand there staring at the gate. In other words, he's not going to do anything useful, so the protagonist won't wait. He tells his partner they're going in, and you know what that means, time to get creative. He plans to shatter the tower's window to get inside, and the loud noise catches everyone's attention. The guild leader immediately wonders what that sound could have been. He orders one of the guards to check the source of the noise right away. The soldier looks up at the window, but sees nothing broken, leaving him confused. But then, a blur, our hero appears right behind the distracted guard. With a single touch from behind, he knocks the soldier clean out. The guard drops to the ground, and our hero reveals his trick. He used his material restoration ability. He explains that he simply fixed the glass right after breaking it. Now he's thinking about his next move. The guard who was supposedly knocked outruns to warn his boss about a huge problem. He yells that there's an intruder who's way too strong to be defeated alone. Annoyed, the guild leader decides he's going to handle this situation personally. He shouts for his men to follow him so they can face down this mysterious intruder together. But one of the guards who was there doesn't move. He just stands perfectly still. Slowly, the soldier raises his hand and begins taking off his helmet. Of course, it was our hero in disguise all along. His partner congratulates him on the brilliant strategy as he sheds the disguise. The protagonist approaches the portal and says, "It's time to enter." And so he walks towards it, but the second he reaches the other side, his eyes widen. He is in total, absolute shock at what he's seeing. Suddenly, the young man finds himself falling into an inverted world. And yeah, I know what you're thinking. The entire scenery is completely upside down. His partner explains that going downstairs in this dungeon actually means going up. The cute creature also reveals the dungeon's theme is the occult, filled with undead monsters. The protagonist finds it incredibly ironic to fight an army of the dead under a clear blue sky. He comments that this isn't his style, but the entity says she already took care of that little problem for him. His friend then reminds him they imbued his new sword with the powerful element of light. At that, the young man recalls choosing the light attribute during weapon synthesis. The creature says this was the entire reason for his training and tells him to get ready. With a determined look, the hero presses on, ready to face whatever's next. You can see the confidence in his eyes as he prepares for the battle to come. And right on cue, a dark, hooded creature appears for the first showdown. The hooded enemy charges, attacking our hero with its crystal staff. But the young man defends with his shining sword and gets ready to counter. As he fights, his partner explains that this dungeon actually disappeared in the future, meaning it's completely unexplored territory. She has info. But right now, the protagonist is a bit busy fighting off all the monsters. With his feet planted firm, all right, let's jump right in as our hero gets the lowdown on this insane sky castle. It's got 100 floors total, with a powerful, can't-be-skipped boss guarding the dungeon. Every 20 floors, our hero does the math real quick, realizing he'll have to face a total of 5 major bosses in this place. A glance at his phone shows only 20 hours left, so there's absolutely no time to waste. But then his eye widens because just when you think he has a plan, a horde of strange zombies appears out of nowhere. In an instant, an entire army of these bizarre creatures materializes right before him. Up close, you can see their red eyes and open mouths, letting out blood-curdling screams. With no time to react, our hero is completely surrounded by the creatures. The entire horde then lunges at him, burying him completely under their bodies. But then something changes. A dead silence falls over the dungeon from within the horde. An explosion of blue energy erupts, and our hero summons the divine beast. Cerberus, with his new summon, he says there's no time to lose. They're going to blast through everyone as quickly as possible. The beasts roar back. With his new partner, he carves a path straight through the enemies standing. In his way, looking back, the young man comments that he thought they'd be stronger. His partner explains that because it's a sacred beast, its attacks naturally have the sacred attribute. With that knowledge, our hero orders them to keep pushing forward and break through the rest of the horde, and so they quickly ascend through the dungeon floors, wiping out everyone in their path. But then suddenly, the great beast stops dead in its tracks, right in the middle of the path. The protagonist immediately asks his partner about the reason for the sudden stop. Looking up, our protagonist's expression turns completely serious. Because right there, a dark portal is ripping open in the center of a circular arena. The summon confirms it. You and I are about to meet the first major boss. The one that appears every 20 floors. From the darkness, an evil energy begins to creep across the entire area. Then, a golden carriage appears in the middle of all the black smoke. Mysterious figures begin to slowly descend from the vehicle that just appeared. Dressed in an elegant suit, one of them gracefully walks down the steps. Its polished boots touch the ground, revealing itself to our hero in the arena. A screen then reveals their identity, the fallen noble family. A group of incredibly powerful vampires. The protagonist realizes he's facing three rank-A undead monsters right in front of him. With a determined look, he thinks he has to defeat them to save his sister. At that moment, his partner screams, desperately for him to be careful, warning him that the enemies are coming. Not wasting a moment, the trio of vampires charges, attacking the protagonist with everything they've got. Calmly, he tells his friend to fall back, and the creature asks if he's going to use the guild item. The young man confirms he will as he braces himself for the battle to come. He then activates his new ability, called Eye of Time. His eye glows a piercing blue. Through this special vision, he can see the attack pattern of the youngest noble. The protagonist can also clearly see the very next move of the vampire rushing towards him. He even predicts the flow of time to know how the family's master will attack, and with this massive advantage, we're about to see him turn the tables. The protagonist prepares his counterattack, crackling with a bluish energy. He then launches a shower of gold and calcium knives toward one of the noble vampires. But get this, the youngest noble takes the blades without even flinching. As the two get closer, our protagonist easily dodges the attack. He then propels himself right past the younger foe, changing targets. He unleashes his gold and calcium blade against the other monster. Then he follows up with daggers, and this time the creature feels it. With his eyes glowing blue, the hero faces his enemies with pure determination. He charges head-on against the family's master, who screams in pure rage. And his dagger strikes the vampire square in the chest. The vampire launches a counterattack, landing a brutal blow on our protagonist. He throws up his arms to block, but the force sends him flying backwards. He crashes hard, screaming from the raw pain of the impact. Even injured, he slams his hand firmly on the ground. With that energy, he creates distance, seeing the perfect opening for his plan. Now far from the vampires, he raises his hand. You're going to want to see this. He clenches his fist, and an immense blue energy begins to erupt. Explosions detonate all over, hitting all three vampires at the exact same time. All they can do is scream in agony as the trap is sprung. A massive explosion of blue and green energy lights up the entire dungeon. His partner explains that each knife is worth 100,000 credits. Apparently, he's just tossing around items made of an extremely rare metal. The entity questions if it's really fair to win just by burning millions. With a dead serious look, our protagonist says the fight is far from over. He tells them they still have to continue. The battle isn't done. He reveals he only destroyed their physical bodies, and now they are back as ghosts. And I know what you're thinking. How do you even fight ghost monsters? But this also exposed their greatest weakness, so he enchants his sword. He imbues his blade with the powerful attribute of light. With his sword glowing intensely, he charges forward with everything he has. With a fierce battle cry, he attacks the ghosts with his sacred blade. He then activates the Chaos Meteor ability, and light rains down from the sky. The blinding explosion illuminates the entire arena, defeating the ghosts for good. A system screen pops up, informing him of his victory and massive rewards. After the win, a staircase made of pure light appears before him. Without wasting a single second, the hero starts descending the steps. He needs to continue on with his intense training. With his eye glowing, he swears that he will rescue his sister Ria. On the 40th floor of the dungeon, a divine beast roars ferociously. But instead of attacking our hero, the creature charges off somewhere else. Turns out Cerberus was attacking the floor's other boss, the undead Queen Lamia. After the battle, the three-headed monster calmly walks over to our protagonist. The beast that was just so threatening is now licking his face like a puppy. You and I just watched a legendary divine beast turn into a giant pet. As they advance to the 50th floor, the entity suddenly shouts for them to stop. Obeying his command, the huge three-headed beast grinds to an immediate halt. Riding his new companion, our hero asks why in the world they've stopped. His partner just insists this is the place, right in front of this solid wall. Our hero is totally lost, but the creature gives him one clear instruction. Activate the Eye of Time and look at the wall. Trust me, you're not ready for what's there. His eyes flare with a bright blue energy as he gazes right at the wall. And he's completely floored by what he sees. He can't believe it with his new vision. He discovers a secret room, one that vanished in the original timeline. At this, the doll reverts to its card form and tells him to place it on the wall. To open the secret passage, he obeys, sliding the card into a crevice. And the path opens, but before heading in, our hero tells his new companion to wait outside. Inside the hidden room, he finds a massive blue crystal. It's just floating in midair. Suspicious, the young man immediately asks the entity if this is just another trap like the last time, but his partner assures him no tricks. A system window appears, revealing this is an acoustic crystal. A crystal that unlocks hidden abilities. With a single touch, a bluish energy starts to flow. It streams from the crystal directly into his hand. Then, suddenly, the object shatters into a million pieces, unleashing a blinding glow across the room. The system announces he's gained new space-time magics, his potential. Finally unlocked, the entity is shocked he got the avatar replay skill. Our hero asks what that is, but his partner just says it's better for him. To test the new ability in a real combat, on the 60th floor, they find the boss. Zombie Beelzebub, the Lord of the Flies. Trust me, you're gonna wanna see this fight. It flies, it spits a solution that melts everything, and of course, it regenerates. Annoyed, our protagonist complains that he's just listing off the enemy's stats. With his eyes glowing, he prepares to face the new boss of this dungeon. With no time to waste, the monster attacks with its stinger at an unbelievable speed. The attack looked like it pierced straight through the protagonist's chest, but in a flash, our hero appears behind the creature, which is totally confused. It has no idea what happened. His future self realizes he's already using his new combat ability, and you and I are about to see just how broken this skill is. The hero's blue clone stands perfectly still as the monster stares, not getting it. Meanwhile, the real protagonist floats in the air, watching the beast attack his illusion. He then reveals he's using his new space-time magic, Avatar Replay. While the monster wastes its attack, the young man activates his fast body ability. His body accelerated to level 3, he gets ready for a precise counter. A blue aura envelops him as he appears right behind the creature. The force of his landing is so great that the very ground begins to crack. He then explains that Avatar Replay magic can create a clone of his past self. With this, the clone takes his place on the battlefield to trick the enemy. The hero and his clone both prepare to attack the monster, and then, suddenly, dozens of clones appear, attacking Beelzebub from every single direction at once. With swords in hand, both the hero and his clones prepare for the assault. An army of his clones appears at the exact same time for the fight. They all charge together in a perfectly coordinated attack against the giant monster. With that, he and his clones use the Chaos Meteor attack to finish the enemy. The copies completely surround the giant monster. It has nowhere to run. But in response, Beelzebub fires a powerful poison attack, and you and I both know this just got way more interesting. The attack hits the clones dead on, and they start dissolving from the corrosive poison. The real hero narrowly dodges, but all his copies are completely wiped out by the monster. Then, suddenly, beams of golden light erupt all around the creature. Now watch this, the monster is completely paralyzed, unable to move an inch after our hero's attack, and he finishes the creature off. His little partner cheers him on, calling him a master ninja. But the guy just tells him to cut it out. Looking ahead, our hero says there are only 2 bosses left to take down. With that, he takes a step, and another staircase appears. But hold on, pay attention here, because a splitting headache hits him out of nowhere. The intense pain makes him lose his balance, and his partner screams out, totally freaked out by what he's seeing. He collapses, unconscious on the floor, as his little buddy shouts his name. As he's out cold, we're pulled back in time. Stick with me, we're jumping back 3 years ago, seeing our hero when he was much younger. A little girl appears, holding a ballet book and practically begging him for something. With his arms crossed, our young protagonist doesn't seem too convinced by her request. But the girl promises she won't quit halfway if he just says yes. With the cutest look, his sister pushes one last time. Seeing how bad she wants this, our hero lets out a sigh, looking like he's about to give in. He asks her if she really wants to do ballet, if she's actually serious. With a massive grin, the girl beams with pure joy and nods yes. Her big brother finally caves and tells her to pick out the slippers. Over the moon with the news, the little girl starts jumping up and down on the living room sofa. Sitting beside him, she eagerly flips through the book to choose her very first pair. Seeing his sister so happy, our hero can't help but crack a gentle, contented smile. After that, we see the 2 of them arriving at a dance studio for her class. Inside, a bunch of other girls are stretching and chatting away. Then his sister appears in her full ballet outfit, announcing she's ready. The other girls cheer for Ria's arrival, promising to do their best together. Surprise! The little one turns to the door when she hears her name called. With a bright smile, she waves to her brother, who's watching her from the doorway. He waves right back, noticing just how well she seems to be fitting in. Her new friends start teasing her about her brother being there, making the little girl blush. Soon after, the dance class kicks off, and all the students get into position. At first, the girl is a little clumsy, just trying to copy the moves. But even though it's hard, the little one keeps pushing herself to learn the dance. With her feet on point, she tries to move with all the grace she can muster. And then a smile breaks out on her face. You and I can see she's having genuine fun. Watching her, her brother thinks she looks like she's having a blast. After class is over, the girl says goodbye to her new friends. Walking home, she gushes about how much fun dance class was. She admits that ballet is way harder than it looks, but she's determined to give it her all. The protagonist listens to every word, telling her he's really happy to hear that. The little girl then seems to be thinking about something, and her expression turns serious. She suddenly stops walking and calls out her brother's name. She asks if with a smile, our hero just says it was nothing and tells her not to worry. But she's still anxious, holding her bag just a little tighter. Her sister points out their parents are away at a conference, so she puts 2 and 2 together, realizing all that money must have come from her brother's own pocket. He's shocked his little sister saw right through him, but she just tells him it's okay and not to stress about it. He asks her if she had a good time at her ballet class earlier. He's just genuinely happy that she found something she really loves to do. With pure admiration in her eyes, she looks up at her brother and calls his name. In her hands, she's holding a small gift box, a thank you for everything. Blushing a little, the young girl thanks him for all he's done for her. Seeing this, the protagonist can only give a gentle smile to his sweet sister. Then suddenly, she throws her arms around him, telling him she loves him. She dashes ahead, saying she'll cook to prove how much she cares. Now let's snap back to the present, where that memory fuels his determined gaze. He's riding the massive 3-headed beast he summoned inside the dungeon. His partner asks if he's finally snapped out of his daze. Our hero asks if he passed out, and the creature confirms he burned way too much energy. He thinks about using a potion, but his little companion says he's already handled it. The entity explains that it healed his injuries, but the mental exhaustion. That's a whole other problem. Wide-eyed, the young man desperately asks about the time limit. And pay attention here, because his partner reveals there are only 5 hours left for the duel. Despite his exhaustion, our hero forces himself to his feet and tells them they have to go. He thinks of his sister, promising they'll go to her ballet class again. The doll silently watches, sensing the young man's incredible determination. His partner mentions there's one boss left, and then the final boss of the dungeon. But he's thinking that at this rate, our guy isn't going to last much longer. Okay, I know what you're thinking. He has to do something right. The cute creature decides it has no choice but to use its final trump card. They've reached the 80th floor, and there it is, the mummy of the Acid King. But the monster is instantly crushed by a powerful blue energy, shattering into countless crystal fragments. And yup, the attack came from our hero, who just used his gravity magic, extending his hand to control the immense power. A system window pops up, boss defeated, 2 levels gained. And his swordsman's skill just jumped up by 4 whole points. After that intense fight, our hero looks absolutely wiped, panting and barely able to stay on his feet. Just then, his companion, Cerberus, walks over to him. With a tired smile, the young man thanks his loyal partner for the help. Petting the beast's head as the doll watches on, then a system window appears. It asks if he wants to use an elixir. And without a moment's hesitation, our protagonist smashes that yes button. With that, a green healing aura completely surrounds him, and in the blink of an eye, his energy is restored. But even though his body is healed, he can still feel the mental fatigue. His partner asks if he wants to rest for a bit after that battle. But our hero refuses. You and I know there's no time to lose, only 3 hours left. To get his sister out of a space-time hole. With his goal set, he decides to head straight for the top floor. A moment later, a system notification pops up. He's reached the 100th floor. The Sky Castle dungeon has been cleared. Gazing at the cosmic view, he says they've finally reached the top. And his partner confirms it's time to face the final boss, and let me tell you, this is it. After defeating this enemy, he can finally reach the exact location he needs, because that's where the space-time hole will finally appear. With a determined look, our hero touches his scarf. His eyes flare with blue energy as he declares he's ready to fight. The young man then walks down a long corridor towards a massive, imposing throne. And sitting on it is a giant skeleton, completely enveloped in a sinister purple aura. A window reveals his identity, the Soul Reaper, the god of the underworld. The final dungeon boss. Seeing the enemy, our protagonist tenses up, while his partner seems completely annoyed with this entire situation. Here's why you should pay attention. This monster doesn't exist in any future database. Suddenly, the dungeon boss speaks, wondering aloud why only one human is there. Our hero is stunned to discover this thing can actually talk. The monster praises him for making it this far completely on his own. Then the Soul Reaper begins to summon a dark weapon with its purple magic. In response, the hero materializes his own sword, glowing with brilliant blue energy. Holding his new weapon, he faces the giant skeleton, preparing for combat. The god of the underworld promises to cast the deadliest curse in existence upon him. At this, his partner realizes that the enemy's weapon is actually in the database. The screen reveals it's the divine scythe of curses. It's a staff for illusion magic that applies all sorts of negative status effects. But our protagonist doesn't care about the description and says it doesn't matter how strong it is. And I know what you're thinking, he's about to go all out. His eyes glowing, he swears he's going to defeat this monster immediately. Using his enhanced vision, he locates the enemy's weak spot right in its chest. Then he activates his body acceleration to level 3 to begin his assault. With incredible speed, the young man charges directly at the Soul Reaper. The god of the underworld is visibly surprised by the boy's sheer speed. The protagonist dodges the giant scythe's attack with unbelievable agility and keeps advancing. The dark blade comes crashing down with devastating force, nearly hitting him. The impact completely shatters the floor, but the hero escapes unscathed. After dodging, he leaps over the monster, looking for the perfect opening. The young man concentrates that blue energy into his hand, preparing to counterattack. His target is the glowing core in the giant skeleton's chest. This will end it. He soars through the air and prepares a devastating blow aimed at that weak spot. His sword tries to hit its mark, but the monster manages to defend itself well. A massive explosion of purple energy erupts, but the blow doesn't seem to have worked. To our hero's complete surprise, the god of the underworld is still standing. He seems completely unharmed and is already preparing his next attack. The giant skeleton swings its scythe and launches a powerful wave of energy straight towards the young man. The monster fires a powerful blast at the protagonist. The Soul Reaper thinks he landed a hit, but what you and I just saw was a decoy. And just like that, the hero appears above the enemy, ready to deliver a blow you don't want to miss. From high above, he activates his power, shouting out the name of his magic. Paralyzing chains. Instantly, blue energy chains erupt and coil around the beast. The giant monster is completely bound, its every movement locked down tight. With his sword in hand, the young man prepares to use this opening to end the boss. But the god of the underworld just scoffs, mocking him for even trying. He says a simple curse like, "That could never work on a divine being." Now here's where it all goes wrong. Watch as the chains begin to crack and break. Seeing this, our protagonist is completely shocked, never expecting his ability to fail. The chains shatter into nothing, and the creature easily frees itself from the magic. With red eyes glowing, it glares at our protagonist with pure, seething hatred. It's about to counter. Suddenly, a blast of purple energy traps the hero. His partner screams his name, desperate as she sees the young man in danger. The sheer power of the blow catches the protagonist completely by surprise. But he narrowly dodges, his hands stretching out as he falls back uncontrollably. He recovers in an instant, defending against a massive skeleton with a giant scythe. The monster taunts him for dodging twice, noting his confidence in his own speed. It then calls him an inferior being for not having wings and needing to crawl. With that, the skeleton announces it's going to attack his legs first, to immobilize him. The enemy activates an ability called Dimension of Curses. Shocked, the young man feels the entire world around him begin to distort. And just like that, everything turns upside down. We're now watching him fall, upwards. Straight towards the boss. In this inverted sky, they finally face off. Our hero wonders what just happened, but the monster just smiles with pure malice. Looking down, he sees the dungeon floor itself cracking apart and falling away. He laments climbing 100 floors just to plummet back down again. The skeleton warns him not to move as it readies another attack with its scythe. He panics seeing that malicious, upside-down smile on the monster's face. With that, he summons a blue energy dagger, preparing for the counterattack. The skeleton's blow collides with his dagger, generating a huge explosion. He then smirks, saying, "You can't make an omelet without breaking some eggs." And then he shouts, "Explode." The blast sends him flying backward, still falling, tumbling through the inverted sky of this strange dimension. At that moment, the protagonist realizes there's a wall. He's trapped inside. Without hesitation, he uses his blade to anchor himself directly into the wall. As the wall shatters, he lands on floating debris, his gaze absolutely determined. Observing the scene, the skeleton monster is clearly surprised by the boy's action. The hero faces his enemy and starts to think, trying to understand this insane situation. He then realizes that this entire fall, all of it, is a total illusion. It's just a spell, and that's when you and I see he's not just pure brawn. He fell right for the magic, and now he wonders how he can possibly break it. With a focused look, he shakes his head, but the skeleton gives him no time to think. The monster gathers its dark energy, opens its monstrous jaw, and unleashes a devastating pink energy beam straight at our hero. It barely misses, grazing his leg as the dark energy latches on. Kind of curse, the monster just grins, warning him he's about to become his newest magical test subject. He explains that the grudges of the dead will slowly eat away at his body. The skeleton then taunts him,